Joe, other than health, what's your biggest concern going into the season?
Well, I think there's some competition here. When you look at some spots in our bullpen, I think we have to iron that out. And I always have a concern about players trying to do too much. And I will let them know tomorrow that you're not going to impress me on your sides. You're not going to impress me the first week of games. Give yourself a chance to get physically caught up in where you should be before you start competing. Ironing out some backup positions and how we go about that and how we do it, and if it's a rotating system or what we do, that's something that we'll have to sort out in spring training too.
Wally, up in the front.
Joe, since there are so few positions left open, I mean, it seems like every year we talk about the number 5 starter spot, which probably be a competition this year. Is it safe to assume CeCe will be in that, and does the fact that if he is in it, does that change the dynamic of it a little bit for you?
Well, I think you have to let things work their way out in spring training. And I know his name has been brought up in that conversation as well as Ivan Nova. I understand that. Sometimes things just have a way of working out where the competition goes away, or, and a lot of times, unfortunately, that's due to health of players. So, we have Masahiro Tanaka coming off surgery. We have Nathan Eovaldi coming off. He was out. He looks good now. He was out the last month and a half of the season. The big thing is that we have 5 healthy starters when we leave spring training, and that's my goal. But, CeCe pitched really well the last month of the season. He did, and it was kind of what we expected. He put the knee brace on and was a different guy. He looks great right now, but we'll, take the 5 best starters.
Meredith and Bob.
With Tanaka, will you move him along a little bit more slowly or watch him a little bit more carefully because of the fact that he's coming off an elbow surgery and he still does have that tear?
Yes, we will watch him closely to see where he's at. He threw a bullpen, I believe it was Tuesday. He threw a bullpen, his first bullpen. Some guys have thrown a few more, but we'll make sure that we put him in a situation where he's ready to pitch before we put him in a game. And if it takes a little longer, it takes a little longer.
Bob.
Joe, I'm curious why you named Chapman your closer when you don't really know, or anyone really knows, if he's going to be on the roster on opening day. And do you have any sense where that's going?
The criminal case is cleared up. I think it's a good thing that Major League Baseball and the Players Association got together and came up with a domestic violence policy. I think that's really good. It's a sensitive issue. It's something that we don't condone, domestic violence. And we have to be sensitive, too, about this. So, my job is to get the most out of my players on the field and, in a sense, off the field as well. I mean, that's really important to me, the way our players handle themselves off the field, because I think, to me, the most important thing for my players is that they're good people. But if they have issues off the field, sometimes it affects them on the field. So I have a responsibility in that. And we'll let Major League Baseball handle that. And just wait to see. I mean, it's hypothetical to predict what's going to happen. But we felt that when we acquired him, he had been a closer most of his career, and that's where we would put him. But I understand it's a very sensitive issue, and we'll be sensitive about it.
Jack and Chad over here.
Joe, is the team that you have assembled for 2016 right now better than the team that ended the season that lost to the Astros? And if so, can you give me the reasons why?
I think so. I think on paper we are better. Paper doesn't really mean anything till you go out and compete. But we added Castro, who gives us an everyday second baseman that has been productive in his career. It's a young man that has almost 1,000 hits and is 25 years old. Can move to shortstop very easily when we want to give Didi a day off. I think that fits well. We added a switch hitter, another switch hitter as an outfielder, which it gives us more of an opportunity to rest, maybe our two left-handers out there against left-handers a little bit more often in a sense. I think we're deeper. I think adding Chapman to that bullpen mix, our bullpen, the final three were really, really good, but I think it has a chance to be even better, obviously. We weren't really sure what the other four spots were in the bullpen necessarily going into last spring, like this spring, but I think there's kids with a lot more experience, and there's some guys that we acquired that have experience, whether it's a Yates or a Swarzak, that really help us. So I think there's more depth. I think our younger players in the minor league system have gotten a taste of what it's like to be up here and have performed pretty well, and I think other guys are closer, and that's why I think we're better.
Chad.
Joe, you had some of the rotation workload concerns are familiar. I mean, you had some similar things last year. You tried a lot of things, 6 starters, skipping some things. Are there things that you think from last year that worked that you want to keep doing in terms of managing the workload of your starters, and other things you tried last year that you think didn't work and you need to do something different?
I thought putting an extra starter in there helped them at times when we were in long stretches. I think it got a little tricky for me when we had the 2 days off, the Monday and the Thursday, and if you skipped everyone, sometimes it almost felt like it was too much and it got them off their game. So I think that's something we have to watch. I know we have that one time during the season. I'm not sure if we have it twice. But I think just watching them physically and watching their innings is the most important thing. But you have to be sensitive to your bullpen, too, that it doesn't get overworked. And I thought we were able to manage that because of a lot to do with our young players coming up and interchanging those guys and keeping people fresh.
Is Severino a part of that for you, or is he?
Absolutely. A part of?
Is he one that you have to manage the workload, or is he at full go at this point after that?
No, I think he's a guy that can handle 200 innings.